welcome to Finding Elara, a safe space where authors, artists and creatives share their world-building style and mindfulness tactics. Brought to you by Bushland Castle Productions, a micro-publisher with an author support platform that nurtures creative growth and storytelling excellence. Hello and welcome to Season 3. I'm starting off this season with a solo show. This is so I have a chance to fill you in about what I have planned for this season. I thought that I would do something a little bit different and batch record all of the interviews. In theory, this was so that I could get all the editing done before the season started and then I'd be ready to have the episodes come out regularly. But unfortunately, I've been really busy, so I haven't got around to all of the editing yet, but it is definitely a high priority. Because this is an update and planning episode, I've broken it down into different aspects. So to start with, I'm going to talk about the podcast. You would have noticed that we have new music in the intro. These dulcet tones have been created by our sound girl, Izzy, and you will certainly be familiar with the beats by the end of this season. The way the season is going to run is 5 interviews, so that's 10 episodes, and then another catch up with me, so a summary episode, and then I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. So there's 15 guests in total. Because it's already March and I'm only just getting episode 1 out, I've decided to release 2 episodes a week when it's an interview week and then 1 episode when it's a solo week. We are running the treasure chest again this season, but it's 1 treasure chest for the entire season. All of the people that I've interviewed so far have put something very special in the chest, and I'm pretty confident whomever fills the last 2 spots will also add a treasure to the trove. I know it's more work the way I run my treasure chests, but I'm going to do it the same as last year, the first in, first served approach. So the first person will have an option of 30 prizes, and that number will diminish until we get down to the last person. But you have to be in it to win it. So make sure that you listen out for the keyword inside the interview episodes and get your name in the draw. After the season is released, so that's 34 episodes for season 3, I'm going to do a 13 episode special for the authors that have been participating in the Otherworldly Emergence series. So one of the authors actually wrote 2 books, so they get 2 interviews. It's just a chance to actually go in depth about their books, what their journey was like with Bushland Castle Productions, and a little bit about their story. I have had a really good chance to build relationships with each of these authors, so I'm looking forward to talking about their journey from pitch to prose to publication. Everyone has faced this adventure differently, and I'm sure it will really highlight the varied approaches towards creativity. As I am one of these authors, Izzy has agreed to interview me again. So if you like the 100th episode, Izzy is going to come back. I have been asked to return to live stream from the Indie Author Book Fair again at the end of November this year, which I'm really excited about. I learnt so much from the last adventure at the Indie Author Book Fair. I know I can improve. That's not until the last weekend in November though, so we've got plenty of time to work on it and plan it. I will be looking out for a fellow podcaster to help me with the interviews. So if you know anyone who's interested in getting on the sound waves, please send them my way and we can have a conversation to see if they're going to be the right fit. It is down in Bunbury, Western Australia, so ideally you'd want to live around that area. So that's 34 episodes in the main season, 13 episodes for the bonus interviews with the OWE authors, and potentially 30 interviews for the Indie Author Book Fair, depending on how big it is. I also may do some additional interviews at the SwanCon at the end of May and start of June. I'm hosting 2 panels there, one on publishing and one on podcasting, which I'm sure will be really interesting. The publishing one, on the panel with me, I have Ian Andrew, or Ian Hooper, from Leshnor Press, and Dylan from New Dawn Publishing. So it's going to be really interesting to discuss the different levels of publishing and how the world today is changing people's perspective of what publishing is. I would have to check on this, but I'm pretty sure that the title is called What Happens After the End. So we're going to share what happens with an author's manuscript after they finish writing it from our side as publishers. It's really good because obviously Bushland Castle Productions is very new, so I'm still developing a lot of my policies and procedures, and I'm pretty adaptable. New Dawn is very well established, and so is Leschnault Press, so we've got those different levels. The podcasting panel, I will be with Tina Raffa-Mulligan from Not the Plot. I actually interviewed her at the Indie Author Book Fair, and I look forward to talking to her again because that was really fun. And the other panelist is Alyssa Curtain from The Heart of Storytelling, which is another podcast I listen to quite regularly. We do have one seat left on both panels, so if you know any podcasters that may be interested to join the podcasting panel, or any publishers who would like to step up for the publishing panel, please get in touch and we'll see if there's availability and they fit for what we're doing. So with all of those added up, 2026 is going to have many, many, many hours of listening fun for you guys and many, many opportunities to grow and learn for me. I went back and had a listen to the first season. It was so cringy, but I have some newfound friends from the show and they said it was like sitting down and having a cup of tea. So I want to keep them up there, and it's nice to look back every now and then and see how far I've come. I wanted to take a moment to talk about the Shadow Lair, which I think still falls under the podcast update. In the end roll, I always go through my Ko-fi page, so that's ko-fi.com/finding Elara. It's something that I started when I first began podcasting as a way of getting some money in for the show. You can buy me a cup of tea for $2 as a once-off, or you can join the Shadow Lair for $5 a month and receive exclusive content and advanced information about the show. I chose coffee because I didn't want to limit people's options if they wanted to show support. Back then, Patreon was really big. I mean, it's really big now, but it was just really big back then. That's what everyone did. They didn't offer one-off payments. They only offered the monthly subscription, whereas Ko-fi offers the option of both. I thought it was the best of both worlds. So I've stuck with it, and it's really good because the Shadow Lair people get the blooper reels. They get a gift at the end of the year for being members of the Shadow Lair, and they already know who all the 13 guests are because they've got the list available to them. So if you are enjoying the show and you would like to show some support, being a member of the Shadow Lair is really helpful. My next subject is writing. So how am I going with my stories? So I finished another draft. This is draft number 8. This one is called The Final Crone. It's very raw and needs a lot of work, but I have actually had it go through a couple of beta readers and they've given some very positive responses and some opportunities for improvement. And now it's off with the developmental editor for developmental edits. I'm actually really happy with the story as a whole. I know that I have a lot of work to do to fix it up. The biggest thing I was worried about with the betas was the ending, and they actually said it was very well done. So I was really pleased with that. And just in general, what they provided as responses will really help me elevate the narrative, which I'm really excited to dive back in and have another go at. In the meantime, I'm actively working on a biographical memoir with a friend of mine. She comes over every Wednesday. I started it last year, but I had to put a pause on it because of everything that I was doing with BCP and my other writing. We've now restarted it and we're actively writing the story together, which is really cool. I have hours and hours of transcripts from some of our conversations and meetings, and we have a very vague draft plot that we're using. I'm pretty confident we're not going to stick to it because we're only a couple of chapters in and we've already veered away. But with memoirs, it's very different to fiction. Like, you can't make things up as you go. It's got to be what you actually remember along the way, and that makes it more challenging, I think. So we're going to continue to catch up every Wednesday and have our cuppers and get some words down every week. There is no update on Elara at this stage. I really haven't had the time, so I do eventually plan on finding Elara, but at the moment I'm just keeping it to the side until I know that I have actual time to sit down and enjoy the writing process for that story. There is another one that's been playing on my mind. It's called Normalness. I wrote it for Nano quite a few years ago, but it just keeps on coming up and I keep on thinking about it. So maybe after I finish the final crone and this memoir, I'll have a look at Normalness. The next point was Bushland Castle Productions. So when I started Bushland Castle Productions in October 2024, I was still forming many of the concepts. There's a fair few legal requirements when starting the company, business plans, policies, procedures, and all that back-end stuff. Then there are the practical ideas, how we're actually going to run the company, what we're going to do, what's it going to look like. I decided to do author support. I do provide creative consultations, edit review consultations, accountability meetings, mindset meetings, monthly mindset theme. We have write-ins 4 days a week. The creative consultations are fairly new for me, but I'm really enjoying them. It's a one-on-one meeting where I learn about your creative project and we have a discussion about what your plans are for the project, what your timeline is. And then at the end, I put together a live roadmap for you. So how that works is it's general goals and targets to achieve along the way. It's called a creative project management plan because I haven't come up with a cool name yet. But it's a creative project management plan where you have targets to actually look forward to. Once you've got this roadmap in front of you, then when you attend accountability meetings or mindset meetings with us, we can help you keep on track and guide you along the way. We started the edit review consultations because I found that some people really didn't understand what the editor meant when they had their editing report. So it's just a third person coming in, reading the editor report with you and translating it in a way that you can understand. Some editors that I've worked with in the past that only give you a certain amount of reviews. So people that have come to me for the edit review meetings, I've discussed it with them. We've clarified what their expectations are so they know how to get back to the editor and get the response that they want. So they're actually a lot of fun. They're quite challenging, but I actually really enjoy them. So with Bushland Castle Productions, we have different communities. We're trying to build a community. So Bushland Pages is where we have the accountability meeting, the mindset meetings, and the write-ins. And throughout March, I've actually started this motivated mindful March where I send through one mindful activity each day for people to complete in their own time. I have all of the activities set out for the month ready for posting every day. And it's a pretty fun challenge. It's free. Fitting mindfulness into your day is quite natural. You might be doing it, you've just never thought about it that way. The Bushland Squires group is for the contracted authors that are currently working on the otherworldly emergent speculative fiction novella series. They have access to all of what's happening in Pages, but on top of that, we have a monthly team meeting and masterminds that align with the current requirements of the series. We've had some pretty amazing masterminds. We've had book coach come in and explain the differences between coaching and editing. We've had an experienced collaborator come in and talk to the group about how to maximize the benefits from collaborating. We've had a developmental editor come in to focus on what a developmental edit is and what you can expect from it. We've had a book narrator come in and talk about how you convert your book into an audiobook, which was really exciting. Once the Squires have actually had their books published and they want to hang around with Bushland Castle Productions, then they'll be moved to the next level. The third group is the Bushland Quills. There aren't any meetings or anything aligned with the Quills. It's just a messenger sort of page where we have all of the active mentors and contractors, so we have a chance to connect and just have those high level discussions and make sure everyone's on the same page. So if one editor's doing something, she can put it on the Quills page so that all the editors know, look, this is what we're doing now. I have prepared an additional group called the Scribes, the Bushland Scribes. So everyone who's writing a memoir can chat to each other and ask questions if they have anything pertaining to memoirs. So I think that will be really cool. Talking about the Scribes, we are currently open for submissions for the Australia Living in the 70s memoir novella series. I'll leave it open until I have enough memoir novellas about the 70s until I can see a honest landscape of what the 70s was really like around Australia. To be eligible for the 70s series, you need to be between the ages of 65 and 80 and have lived in Australia in the 70s. So you don't have to be an Australian, but you have to have lived in Australia in the 70s to qualify. Because novellas are such a short period of time and they're really easy to read and digest, it's not the entire decade that we're looking for. It can be just 1 or 2 years or even a couple of months depending on how exciting it was this specifically memoir moment covers. So it will take a while to really get that whole picture, I think. People seem to romanticize the 70s era because it was before the internet and mobile phones. I'm an 83 vintage, so it was before my time, but everyone always talks about it as if it was so amazing and wonderful, but I know that there are positives and negatives about that time, and I just want to get my eyes on what it was really like. We are also open for submissions for the low to medium content journals, mindfulness and world building books. I've got 5 journals and prompt books that are live on Amazon, and I have every intention of doing more when I have a hot minute to sit down and make them. But I am open for people who want to come in and help me out with getting more out there. I'm sure that by now, if you've been listening to the show before, you'll know that I'm really fond of speculative fiction and memoirs. So something else that is really exciting and coming up in April is we're running our first competition to highlight those 2 elements. So the first one is called the Catalyst Scroll Competition. You will get more details closer to the date, but I will give you the basics. The submission needs to focus on a moment of change. The word count is between 1,000 and 1,500 words. There will be a fee to enter the competition and prize money. I have lined up some industry professionals who will be blind judging the submissions. So here's the pitch. You ready? The Catalyst Scroll invites speculative fiction scenes that capture the instant something shifts. A belief fractures, a truth is revealed, a system collapses, or a new understanding takes hold. This competition is not about the aftermath, it's about the moment of ignition and the ripples that spark from ember to flame. I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to be super cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people come up with that concept and how they encapsulate that theme into a max 1,500 words. The second competition, this is to align with my memoir, is the Heritage Scroll. This will also be between 1,000 and 1,500 words. I have aligned some different industry professional to judge that one. It will also be blind judging. There's also a fee. There will also be a prize. But the Heritage Scroll seeks personal stories that examine the legacies we carry, whether inherited through blood, belief, place, tradition, or memory. These stories of formation rather than fracture, of the foundations beneath the person you are today. So basically asking what is your heritage and how has that impacted who you have become today. I'm also really excited to see what people come up with that concept. I didn't want to make the themes too solid. I want to get a variety of responses, and it'll be really interesting to see what people come back with. So it's going to open in April and then it'll close in July, just in time for the Otherworldly Origins series submission to open. So that is the second series that we're working on. At the moment, we're completing Otherworldly Emergence, and that is pretty much regular humans being exposed to otherworldly elements. So vampires coming out of the coffin, werewolves getting caught on camera, that sort of thing. And Origins is about how did people turn into werewolves in the first place? Why was this pendant cursed by a witch? The beginning of otherworldly elements. I'm aiming for 16 submissions for Otherworldly Origins, so we'll just see how that goes. And then in October, we're going to do the awards evening for the Catalyst Scroll and the Heritage Scroll. I've spoken with the team at the Book Reality, and we're looking at collaborating for the event, and I'm really excited to tell you more, but I really can't right now. So give it a moment. The Bushland Castle Productions and Book Reality will be working together later this year. I think I've covered all the work-related updates now. So that's the podcast, Bushland Castle Productions. On a personal front, hubby and I are now empty nesters. Our youngest has spread her wings and is off for her first year of uni in Perth. The boy is happily still working FIFO, and the middle child has chosen to move her adventures to the Pilbara for at least a year. We'll certainly be putting the caravan to good use, going up to visit her and her partner. I think that's all I have for you today. I know it's shorter than the normal episode, but it is just me talking. I will let you go. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I really appreciate the support. If you would like to get in touch with myself or the team at Bushland Castle Productions, then all the links are in the show notes. If you enjoyed listening to Finding Elara, have any questions, or just want to share your world with us, then please get in touch. Until next time, keep up the search for your Elara.